Hello, it's Ed. Welcome back to the studio. And this week I'm going to be looking back at the Hillgate project. I don't know if you remember, probably about 2 months ago now, I started out on this project photographing a really interesting, important street in Stockport. And I was asking for your ideas as to how I might go about it and some feedback on the images that I'd already shot. And thank you for those of you that did reply to that request. And I did try and take on board all the comments that you made. So in the intervening time, I have finished shooting, then researching and writing the captions for that little book that I was going to produce. And here it is. Fantastic, tiny little book, which is going to be available on my Blurb bookstore. So if you are in the market for a stocking filler, Christmas is on its way, please do pop along and have a look. I'll put the link in the comments below. So that's the sales pitch done. Now what I want to do is actually talk you through what I did and give you a little bit more information about how I produced the book, and hopefully that will give you some hints and tips about how you might want to go about a project of your own. I think I began this project at the end of September and carried it on through to the middle of October. And initially I just wandered up and down Hillgate, sussing out the area, taking a few little snaps on my phone just as reminders of things that I might want to go back to. I went to the Central Library and I looked through the local history section there. I also did the usual internet search, found all sorts of interesting and often unverifiable information. Some things I knew about already, but there were some surprises still in store for me, things that I never knew about. And actually what started out as a photo project became something where I was more interested in the captions, if anything, than the images. Now, as I say, I took on board the feedback that I got from people who saw the original video, and there was very little about the actual style of the photography. I decided to continue with my plan for a lower contrast and more classic film look, although produced on a digital camera, rather than using hard shadows and trying to use arty angles. One of the suggestions was that I include more about the people on Hillgate, and I did think that that was a really important thing, and I would like to come back and make a companion volume where I look at the stories of some of the people on the street and the businesses and the people who use the street on a day-to-day basis. But I didn't feel that that would fit with this particular piece of work, which is more about the buildings. So let's have a look at what I did get and how I managed to put it all together into a volume. First thing I had to decide was how big I was going to do this book. I've produced books at all different sizes, from large coffee table books to pocket books, and this was a new size of book that was actually being offered by Blurb, who are not sponsoring this video in any way, by the way. Blurb just happened to be the website that I've used for my photo books, and I can't remember why I ended up using them, but I've been happy with the results thus far, so it seemed the natural thing to go ahead with. And yes, they'd introduced this new size of book, a really small square format, and I thought actually that really suits this project, not just because it's cheap to produce and cheap to order, but also because it is a pocketbook. It's like a little guide that you might stuff into a jeans pocket if you were going for a wander down the street. I laid out the book roughly thinking, how would I have horizontal images and vertical images, how would they work together? And what I decided was the best thing was to just do it as a walk. Start at one end, end at the other end. Reading the book from the front to the back would be like walking down the street from the top to the bottom. And then it was just trying to get images that work together and enough supporting text for each image to make it something more than just a picture. I couldn't feature every building on the street, and there may be some which I've left out that people who know the area well would think, oh, that's significant, you should have put that in. And there may be some other buildings which are important to me, or I think they have some sort of merit, but people might think, well, why did you put that in? It's a personal thing, and that's both the good thing and the bad thing about working alone and not having an editor. Having put together the images and the captions, I then wrote a short introduction and copied the little map that I'd made of the street into that, just as a visual guide. That was it. I proofread it again, and I'm sure there are still some errors in there because that's the way it always is. And then I uploaded it, crossed my fingers, and ordered a single copy for myself. that's how the book was produced. And these are a few of my favourite images. This was a really good time to make a historical record. I'm sure that in 10 years' time it will have changed, if not beyond recognition, certainly in quite significant ways. And I hope I will be able to go back and have another look at it at that point, but that is in the lap of the gods. Anyway, I think I've gone on long enough about this. It's time to wrap things up. So there we go, Hillgate project put to bed. I've really enjoyed doing it. I hope you've enjoyed seeing what I've been doing as well. I hope you'll go to the Blurb bookstore, link in the comments, and get yourself a copy for Christmas. Get 10 copies for all your friends. Get 100 copies for all your acquaintances. Get copies for everybody in the country. They will thank you for it. Seriously, whatever you do, it would be fantastic if you just like, subscribe, share this video, this channel. It really does help me. It would be a fantastic Christmas present for me. Anyway, that's it for this week. I'll be back again next week, all being well. So until then, thanks again so much for your company. Have a fantastic week. Bye for now.